guys, this is Joan Muñe, and today we are at the Painter's Talk talking with Hector Lloyd. Hector is an illustrator, he's a sign painter, and he's specialized in gilded pieces. So, not saying more, Hector, welcome and thank you very much for being here with us.
Hi, Joa.
How are you doing, Hector?
Very well, thank you.
Great.
How are you?
Good. Very excited to have you here. And well, Hector, I know you have been doing sign painting for a while, but curious, what's your background?
Well, I kind of got into sign painting through being an illustrator, and I was an illustrator. That's kind of what I trained in, and I sort of did that for a little while. Couldn't really make any money out of it properly because I was too slow. So, but I've gradually kind of got into drawing letters instead. I don't, I think of myself as more of a like letter drawer rather than a sign painter in a way, because I always just see it like that, really. But yeah, I started working for a sign company and gradually discovered this like world of painting and drawing letters that I just didn't know was a thing until then.
Hector, and you say you were working previously in a company. How do you work? Are you a full-time sign painter, or what do you do additionally or something?
I work for a sign company. I started working there about 6.5 years ago, maybe. And at the time, I didn't really know what signs were or what hand-painted signs were or anything. But so I started working there, and I still work there now, but only 2 days a week. And then I have 2 days where I look after my son, and then really 1 day where I work on my own work, which is, well, that's the one day where I can just completely concentrate on it. Other than that, it's evenings, weekends, whenever my son's having a nap on Monday and Tuesday. So you just kind of cram it in where you can.
Oh, wow. And then you do all your work there where you are sitting down at the moment. Will you mind showing us your working space?
Yeah, sure. It's very small. It's just basically a corner. But yeah, I'll just move the camera around so you can kind of have a little look and see a few things I'm working on a bit. So this is basically my desk. And I have just this little easel that pops up and everything goes on that small easel.
Which easel? I cannot see it, Hector.
Oh, sorry. It's just here. I can't actually put it up because I've got some signs resting on it now. But this pops up, and yeah, it's rank. It's covered in paint. So then this over here, I've got 2 little toolboxes there, little sign painting toolboxes, which I've made out of foamettes, which is, I always quite enjoy showing people those.
Really cool.
I kind of thought they would be, I kind of made them thinking, oh, that would be so handy on site, but then I never take them anywhere. I just keep them there.
They might be very light.
Sorry?
They might be quite light.
Yeah, oh yeah, they're definitely lighter than like a wooden one. And so I've kind of made them, sort of custom made them so that you can sort of fit things in there exactly where they need to be. And, it kind of fits like the tins of paint quite nicely. And then I've got some little drawers for whatever bits and bobs, brushes. And then that one's slightly newer, slightly bigger. All my paints and stuff are down there, and then gilding tools in here. Yeah, you know what it's like, just basically a dump. But
do you also recycle the cups? I saw in the cupboard.
I do my best. I have a huge stack of them here.
Oh my God.
I can never really bring myself to throw them away because so I don't know why, because I don't know, I just feel bad if throwing them all away, but yeah, I do reuse them, but sometimes they get to a point you can't, obviously. But anyway, yeah, I've got a plotter here as well, which I use to do the drawings. So up here, these are the kind of what I use to do most of my work.
I love those patterns also. They're up, what you're showing at the moment.
Like the tea one, yeah. So that's another one. I'm planning to do a few more of these tea signs because they're quite popular.
Sweet.
Yeah, and so yeah, I pretty much get, and yeah, I mean, I can kind of reuse them if I need to and stuff. So it's quite handy, and it just makes like a nice, clean kind of outline, so it's quite easy to follow through the glass. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it.
Really nice.
That is my studio.
Nice. Thanks for showing us that. And Hector, so tell us a little bit more about the story of how did you get into sign painting? You say that it was through your company. How did that happen?
Well, I work for this company called Glyphics, which is quite a well-known sign company. They do everything, but it's mainly vinyl graphics and printing and all sorts of signs. But that's kind of how I got interested in lettering. And I just learned loads about lettering just from sitting weeding letters and just messing about with letters all the time. And there was a sign painter that used to work there sometimes called Eddie, who was a kind of he just was freelance, the kind of friend of the boss. And I don't know why particularly, but I mean, I was kind of into drawing and I just got on with Eddie quite well. So I used to go out with him sometimes and just help him. And sometimes he'd let me do a bit of painting, and it normally wouldn't go very well, but I still was like, that's quite fun. And one day he kind of convinced me that I should get a sign painting kit, and I kind of put this little kit together for myself and was like, now what? And I was still not really sure what I was doing, but then my boss luckily decided he went to I think it was one of the like letterheads meets at Joby Carter's theme fair that he does every year, and he found out about Joby's course. And I don't know what came over him, but it was one of the like loveliest things. He just was like, I'm going to send you on this course. Why not? And I was
what?
Like, what? Are you serious? Okay. He was like, yeah, I'll send you on the course, and it's for a week, so you'll be staying there, living kind of almost not living at the fun fair, but sort of as close to living at the fun fair as you can get without living. And yeah, and so I got like a week off work and go and learn to paint signs for a week, which is amazing. And that's pretty much, I think that was probably 4 years ago ish. And yeah, after that that was it. That's when I kind of got the bug to do it properly. And then maybe a few months after that, I probably painted my first sign on site. Just, it was terrifying. It took me like all day to do this small bit of lettering. It wasn't that easy, but it was quite nerve-wracking, and I was all my own stuff. But
all of us just passed through that.
But gradually built up my confidence with it and started practicing more at home. And I used to stick a bit of wood, masking tape a bit of wood onto the wall and just paint in the corner of my room. It was terrible, but gradually I kind of made more space for myself and figured out some things and just kept doing it, really. And then eventually I tried glass gilding, just because it sort of seems like the kind of natural progression of, especially if you're doing, because I did a Joby Carter course, it was all kind of ornate, fancy lettering, making things look, I kind of thought, actually, I love that. I really like the idea of making things look kind of really flamboyant and over the top and exciting and shiny and colourful and glittery or whatever. And that sort of led me into glass gilding. So yeah, that's pretty much where it came from. And I just started putting things on Instagram, and then gradually suddenly someone was like, oh, do me a sign and I'll promote you. And I thought, this sounds dodgy. But then I did it anyway, and it actually ended up being great. And since then I've had work doing this. So I kind of,
Wow.
yeah, so that was quite good.
Most part of your clients come through Instagram, or what's the profile of your clients?
Yeah, it's mostly through Instagram and through my website, but often website through Instagram kind of thing. But yeah, you know, it's people that kind of, it's often people that have like a nice house and they want to they want like something fancy to put on their walls. You know, it's often family names, people's names is the obvious one. But lately I've been doing more kind of home, kitchen, bathroomy signs as well. So that's why I'm doing a sort of set of these at the moment. But yeah, but mostly it's been commissions for people who want, it's not, you know, like anniversaries and weddings and stuff like that. You know, people want something fancy, don't they?
Yeah.
And because I've kind of made this, sort of branded myself as being quite, I suppose, quite flamboyant in a way with the designs, but I don't know. You never really know how people perceive it, do you? But what I'm doing at the moment, I'm definitely trying to kind of pushing that kind of design side of it a bit further, doing things a bit more wild than I would normally. I think
that I have followed you already for a while, and I have been seeing kind of a little transition you were doing before, more single letters, beautiful pieces, and now I see that you're doing more like complete words.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's mostly, and because of the sort of limitations of my time, and because it's mostly commissions that I do, it's, you know, I'm just kind of whatever people ask for, that's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But now I'm sort of finding a little bit more time for it, and so I'm able to do a bit more, sort of experiment a little more with the designs and the kind of things I want to do. But also at first, I suppose when I started out, it just seemed more comfortable to just do a letter and concentrate on that one letter, especially when you want the design to be really over the top and mad. It kind of makes sense not to bite off more than you can chew, just hone it into one letter. But then everything you do just leads you onto something bigger, something more you know, ambitious the next time. So
oh yeah, we are never happy. I think that's the problem with sign painters. We always want more and better.
But I still like to do like single letters if I can. Like I do everything. But yeah, mostly now people want a name, or you know, they want their dog's name, or they want the name of their house, or just a funny phrase that they like, or something. You know, there's all sorts. And also I've been doing a bit more lately of things that have a bit more of an illustrative element to them, which I love, because I obviously used to do a lot more of that stuff. So I'm quite keen to kind of push that side of it a bit more, and offer that a bit more as part of the design, because you know, it's always just nice to have that little extra flair in there if you can. Like, what was it I did some like flowers recently, which I was like terrified of doing, but actually looked quite good. I don't think I've actually posted it anywhere, but like, and you know, like just little motifs, and they just look quite nice as little design elements rather than just lettering. Although, you know, everyone loves lettering, but not everyone loves a little picture of flowers. That's the thing.
Yeah. Hector, how is the process of doing a glass gilding piece? Let's say I ask you for a piece.
Normally you've got some kind of idea what you want, and sometimes it's a less developed idea or a more developed idea, and either way I'm going to do some designs, and you know, just some rough designs on normally I use an iPad nowadays, and once I've started using the iPad, it's really hard to go back to not the iPad. So Anyway, I use the iPad. I do quite a lot of little, I often do, you know, like a whole page of little thumbnail sketches often. Unless someone's kind of like, I really want this word and I want it in this style that you've done this one in before. So in which case that's kind of easier. So I know what I'm doing then. But yeah, normally I'll just do a little page of rough ideas, and someone will choose one or two of their favorites and we'll just kind of gradually narrow it down into something. But yeah, normally I kind of try to steer people in a direction that I want them to go a little bit. But yeah, so normally we do a bit of design that can, you know, can take quite a little, that can take a while sometimes, a bit of back and forth. But then once that's done, I make my little pattern. Once the design's finished, I do the drawing on the plotter, and I pretty much just get that drawing, stick it behind my glass, and either I will, you know, need to gild straight away, or I'll do some painting and then gild later. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And it, you know, usually, I mean, it takes me probably 3-4 weeks to get something done, like when it's a commission thing, just because, yeah, I just don't have very much time, and it takes ages to do it, so it just does.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. And then I send them some pictures as I'm going, and to keep them excited.
Yeah.
And then yeah, I send it off, and that's it. I was very scared about sending things in the post for a really long time. I was just like, I can't send anything. If you want to sign off me, you're going to have to collect it from me, or I'm going to drive it to you. And I like drove signs to people who are like in Manchester, literally.
Oh my goodness. You charge the delivery.
I'm kind of going that way anyway, so I happen to be like delivering. One sign I did a couple of signs for the same guy who had previously collected one from me, and then it turns out he lived like just pretty much in the next road to my granny. So as I was visiting my granny one day, I was like, I'll deliver these signs. But yeah, I don't know, but I'm over that now. I figured out how to ship things like safely. So, but that was always a terrifying prospect for me. Like getting over that hurdle was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, I don't trust neither in the post much.
No, you just have to go crazy with the packaging. It's the only option.
Yeah. Hector, but then how is, for instance, the creation process? Let's say you already have the design.
Okay.
Then I know you create something for this interview.
Right, yes. Okay, yeah, so what I would normally do, this is like Blue Peter. This is one I made earlier, especially for this. So this is a little panel that just shows the usual process. I mean, this is just one example of a style and a design, you know, just an H. So, and I've tried to show it stage by stage, me adding different elements to it. So I start off with this bit, which is just a bit of gold which has been applied to the glass, so you can see it's complete mirror.
I can see myself there.
You can see yourself there. Hello. Then on the next bit, I mean, you can see actually, if you look at the other side, you can see I've transferred the design on the gold. So that's, you can't see it from the other side, obviously.
Wait a minute. How do you transfer that design? Because I see a full line, so it's not with chalk. It's not like pounced pattern.
What on that little H there?
And the second H.
Yeah, that's, I use this transfer paper, which is this stuff. You pretty much just put it onto the back of the gold, put your design on top, and then draw over it, and it prints like a perfect little line.
Yeah.
Which is super handy, like, because I used to do it with a pounce pad, with bounce pattern, but it was just so messy, and
Mhm.
it was always just a mess, and I always end up getting bits of powder in your paint, and it's just annoying. But this works really well. So
Oh, sweet.
anyway, so I paint, I put the design on, then I paint the black backup. Sorry, the black backup with the design on there. And on this one, I've also just removed all the excess. After that paint dries, you can remove all that excess gold, and you're left with this.
You remove
Then,
it just with piece of like a Q-tip.
yeah, like
and
a cotton
Pierre
wool ball, and
d'Argent. What's the name
yeah,
of the thing?
d'argent. Yeah, it's like a kind of like a abrasive, just
Yeah.
a sort of light abrasive. But it works super well. I mean, I didn't know for ages. I didn't know how you do that without just ripping all the paint off. And when I tried
How
it
do
the
you
first
do
time,
it?
I was like, it's like magic. It's like
Yeah.
you know.
But how do you do it before using that?
I used to, well, before I discovered this stuff, I just didn't do it like that. I would always paint first and then gild all the gaps. You know?
Okay.
Whereas this way means you can gild first and then paint afterwards, which I don't know if that's the best way. It's not always the best way. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. But yeah, so anyway, I use this stuff to remove it.
Hector, quick question. How do you clean the glass before starting working? Also with that?
Yeah, I normally clean it with that, and then I clean it with some normal sort of glass cleaner as well.
And with paper, you remove it with paper or with a cloth?
Yeah. But yeah, with this stuff, I normally would clean it sort of probably twice with that, just with a bit of water, like, and it has a little scrubby brush in there that's like really good for cleaning, and really good for removing the gold. But then afterwards, I would use maybe methylated spirits or something, just to kind of get this final layer, any kind of greasiness, or some kind of alcohol-based cleaner or something. But it's weird. I know this might be sacrilegious, but like everyone says, clean your glass, clean. But I've definitely done some signs that have come out okay where the glass has not been perfectly clean. But yeah, I don't know, probably shouldn't say that, but it's sometimes I've just used that and a bit of methylated spirit,
and that's all. What I use sometimes is sugar soap.
Yeah, because I suppose there's certain things that are just like, they have a slight abrasive. I think that's the thing you need something abrasive, don't you, just to get these little bits. I mean, mate, it's sort of, it depends if you're lucky, if the bit of glass you have might just be not that dirty.
Yeah.
Or sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Like sometimes it's a bit of a mixed bag. But yeah, I mean, obviously, definitely clean it.
Yeah. But I also, like, once I discovered the Pierre, what's the name of that thing? I always forget. I always say Pierre something. Pierre d'Argent. Yeah. The way I use it a little bit wet, you know, and then I remove it with paper, like kitchen paper, you know, or like not a cloth, just paper or napkin or something like that. But I have a friend who, she applied it and she waits it gets dry, and then she just remove it with
like a squeegee.
Yeah, like a squeegee, exactly. I have never tried it, but she says that works really good as well. Yeah,
I've seen that as well. Yeah, because it does. If you use this, clean it with some water, scrub a bit of glass, and then you just leave it for 10 minutes. It kind of it goes a bit dry, and then you kind of wipe it off, and it's almost gone a bit chalky.
Yeah.
A bit like when you polish some polishes, you know, you put it on, you leave it, and then you wipe it off, and that kind of creates.
Okay, so you do it dry as well.
I normally do it. I do it wet. I do add a bit of water and that, so you kind of get a bit of looks like a bit of a soapy lather going, and then but I do normally do that twice and then clean it just with some normal stuff as well.
Well,
But
when I started learning the gilding, it was very stressful because they always say once you put like the water with the gelatin, that's like the proof moment. If you get like
yeah,
then
if
the
it's
glass
clean,
is exactly, if it's clean, it will run perfectly. If it's not clean, you will get that of
but
like spot.
let me just show you this one, because this is just a one that I'm working on at the moment. So I've done the main part of it. I've painted, I've put this border on it, but inside the lettering, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So with this, I can't clean it quite as easily now because I haven't done the gilding yet.
Yeah.
So it means I'm going to have to clean all that. But how do I clean it? I can't just rub it like mad with this stuff and like use all this alcohol and stuff. Like, so you kind of, sometimes I just go at it with like a cotton ball, like really scrub away at it. And you can still get it pretty clean. Like even when, because obviously I've been working on that for a few days and it's not clean anymore. So that's another advantage of doing the gold first rather than paint first, I suppose.
And also is because you use one-shot paint, right?
Yeah, mostly.
Well, when I learned to do it with Nasdaq. I don't know if I pronounced it right. And that was the reason, because then, and I learned to do first the background and all the coloring at the last, the gilding. But it needed to be Nasdaq because then you could clean really good the glass and the paint will not come out. Because Nasdaq is like really attached to the glass. But I have never tried to do it the other way around as you do it. First the gold and then the rest of the steps. I will give it a go to see how this goes.
It does kind of open up more possibilities because, like, for example, with this one, it means that I can relatively easily do like the gold outline rather than the gold fill. So, and that just creates more options for you sometimes. And it means you can do more detail. If you can paint it, you can do it in gold. Whereas like with that one, I can just plonk a load of gold in there now if I want to, and that will look nice. But I might also want to do like a gold outline or just some gold, I don't know, whatever, like just a section of that be gold and then leave space for other stuff. So anyway, I mean, there's so many different ways, but this is, I kind of enjoying doing these signs I'm doing at the moment because I'm kind of free to do whatever I want. I don't, you know, I'm just thinking, oh, do I want to do a sort of silly border on that one? Yeah, why not?
That variegate border looks really pretty. Yeah,
I kind of tried to make it like, so I think this is one type and then this is a different color.
Oh yeah,
different sort of, there's one that's a bit more bronzy and one that's a bit more
kind of
but
really pretty.
Yeah, it's really cool, that stuff. I really like that.
Okay, I will say let's go back to the H.
Yeah, so back to the H's. So this one, I've removed the excess and I've also trimmed. So you see on that one, the ends of the lines. Sorry, I overshoot those, and then there I've trimmed them back. So
how do you trim them? I mean, I'm doing all the questions for people that perhaps also do not know much about gilding, so they might be, how do you do that? So
I basically use this thing, which is super brilliant, although kind of annoying because I don't know, I feel like I go through these like mad, like I go through so many of these, like after you've done a few, you do a few little and then you're like, oh, it's blunt now. They're super
it needs
good.
To be very new.
But you can be, but again, you know, it opens up a whole level of like being picky about your work. Like if you keep, like, you know, you can spend a long time scraping the corners and trying to get things nice. Like ultimately it depends if it's worth it to you. I find it's worth it for me. But like sometimes you don't need to do it. Sometimes you just think that looks good as it is.
You're saying something that I have been hearing in my last interviews, and it's that negotiation with imperfection. It's like, okay, until here is enough, and I have to be able to let it go, and it's good enough, you know?
Yeah.
I think that all of us, we have that syndrome.
Yeah, definitely. And I know it's sort of, I mean, from my point of view, it's kind of like, oh yeah, let's get into painting. It's so like free, and because I didn't used to do any painting really before I did this, like none. I just wasn't interested in paint. It's like messy and annoying. And now I'm like, yeah, I love painting, but I only like this very specific type of painting. And but like in a way you kind of think, yeah, that would be, painting is kind of free, and it has this sort of flowing kind of image.
But we don't do abstractly. We do something
not at all. It's
very clear, very specific.
You want corners that are sharp and like smooth curves, and and the fact that it's on glass makes you even more like worried about it, because it sort of seems so kind of on display. It's shiny, it's really clear, and also you can chip a bit away. Like if you're painting on a surface, you can't really do that, like unless you're painting on something that's, you don't want to start scraping on a fascia and thing. But there's certain little tricks you can do, but like you can be a bit more, you don't worry about it so much. Whereas like with this, it's like you feel like once I've painted this and I've painted around it, there's nothing I can do. I've trapped it in there. So you can't. Sometimes you start, like, even once you finish something, start like scraping away, trying to, like, you see something that's not quite right, and you start scraping it away, and it's just like, no.
You know what is the worst? When you see the thing that is not right, and your hands go more.
Yeah.
And now now you have a full piece that is out. You're like,
oh, now I've got to like, and like sometimes you've like scraped a little bit out, and you've got to like re-gild this tiny little hole, and then just like, what am I doing?
When it was perfect.
It was pretty much fine, and now I've made it worse.
I think that is worth it to mention it. In our previous conversation, preparing this interview, we were talking about the interview of Peter from Bold Statements. And you pointed straight away that he said that he started sign painting to let go of his perfectionism.
And I was like, no, it's not going to work.
It gets worse.
Yeah.
I could not count anymore the amount of times I have been like sleeping, and a thought about a sign I'm doing pops up, and I wake up. Oh, I need to do it. Sometimes it's bigger in your head than in reality doing it.
Oh, definitely. But sometimes it's just one of those things you can't like, I don't know, you can't get it out of your head until you've kind of dealt with it. Like once you've dealt with it, you're fine.
It's gone.
Even if you've ruined it, made it worse. But like, at least.
But it's out of your head. It's out of your head at least.
Yeah.
Oh God. So, okay, let's go back.
Okay, again, so right now, next stage here, this is, I've put a kind of black outline and a shade at the bottom there. So that's something I quite often do something a bit like that, because I just like outlining things, and I quite like adding this black block to it, because I just find it gives it a bit of depth and a bit of contrast. Also, it makes, if I've got to see on the next section where I've filled the colors in, it means that I can be a bit more, it makes that a bit easier, because you're just kind of coloring in the space, especially when you're doing blended parts. That makes it a whole lot easier.
Hector, and you do the black outline so perfect, or you are also trim the edges? They look very perfect.
Yeah, definitely trim. Like, I often, sometimes I don't trim, but I pretty much always trim everything pretty much a bit. But it's always got to look like it always looks handmade, because even though it's been trimmed, it, you know, but going back to this perfection thing, it's like you're always thinking, I want it to look perfect, but you're also thinking, I don't want it to look too perfect.
Yeah, otherwise it will look like a computer done thing.
Yeah, because like the H there, it's like it's got sharp corners, but that's not a perfectly straight line. There's like wobbles and bumps, and that's like, but you know, you could spend ages, and you could spend even longer doing that, scraping away if you wanted. But yeah, just eventually you just like, hang on, how long have I spent doing this? So then,
okay,
yeah, this
wait,
section,
and I have another question. What type of black paint are you using there?
That is the Nasdaq. This stuff.
Yeah, the black. Yeah.
From the handovers.
Backup. Yeah, the black backup.
And yeah, it's just use it for all black stuff. It's just really, really good. And
how do you dilute it? I mean, sometimes it's could be quite thick. What do you use to?
Just some white spirit. Just dilute that with some white spirit. And yeah, I mean, because it comes out really thick. It's like toothpaste.
Yeah, it's like toothpaste. Yeah.
Yeah, you want it to be, you want to get it pretty thin, to be honest, because it's funny stuff. It kind of it dries so quickly that even when you're painting with it, you can feel it drying as you paint. And so you have to constantly be washing your brush out, constantly thinning it down a bit more. But
I always make it softer also with thinner, but a friend of mine told me that Chroma Floyd doesn't work. Do not know what it does, but it doesn't work. So here I share
I've never actually used Chroma Flow before.
Let's go back.
Okay, right. So next stage, I've added to this now some pearl shell bits. So you can buy that in the sheets. Yeah. Show
me from the back the color shadow. How does it look? Okay, sweet. And those are two different tones, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I've just used two colors straight out of the tins.
The tin, yeah. And you just add the mother of pearl.
Yeah. So the mother of pearl is, you can buy it in sheets, and I just break it up into little pieces and I glue it on with everyone's favorite, this stuff, which is just like super good.
A speed dry UV, yeah.
Then on the next layer, I've added some.
Another question: how do you place them? They are super tiny. How do you place them? With something for I don't know, like removing the hairs?
I just use a paintbrush. I paint in a section with the glue, and this stuff, it dries pretty quickly. It goes tacky like within about 10 minutes. It's pretty speedy. So you got to work quite quickly. But I break them all up. So let me just get the sheet of it actually, because it's quite. This is the stuff. Just got a new sheet of it the other day. So that's the right way up. So this way up, you will see the shininess. And if you turn it the other way, it will go dull. So I don't know if it really comes up on the camera, but I can see it here.
You can see it.
So what I do is I like break it up and make sure they're all facing the right way. I break all these little pieces. And then I just, as long as I've got it oriented right, I just paint the glue on, and then I use the same brush that I just painted with to just pick them up. Them up, and then you just plonk them in, and you can move them around a bit, and as long as you keep it flat. Like I have had a few times, one time where I stuck a load of it on and then I just put it down, but it wasn't on a perfectly level surface, and then I came back like 10 minutes later and all of them had slid like the whole thing.
No.
Yeah, I had to redo it because it had all slid across, but then that meant that it had also smeared all the glue across.
Yeah.
it was just terrible, and there was no fixing it.
Oh God.
Yeah. So anyway, then what I've done in the next section, I've just sprinkled a bit of glitter on. So, well, then once you sprinkle the glitter, I mean, you don't have to put the glitter on, but you do have to seal it then with another layer of the clear glue. So you then, so you just paint some more over the back, let that dry again, and then that will seal any little gaps that are between the bits of shell. Otherwise, when you paint, so on this last one, I've painted white, just some white in the back, and if you don't seal it,
it can go in between.
White, it can bleed, and then you get a little bit of paint in front of the shell, which is just terrible.
Okay, interesting. Because actually, I have never done the little pieces. I have used like bigger pieces of mother of pearl. So of course, the mother of pearl was outside the color, so I just back it up with Nasdaq black paint. But I was wondering, what if the black goes in between? So it's a really good tip what you're saying, to actually cover it with an extra layer of the.
I've actually, I don't know how, because I used to use bigger pieces of shell, like cover an entire section like with one piece. But I don't really do that anymore, because I always found that I would get, when you put it down on the glued section, it's like sometimes there's like a little bit of bend in the thing, and you end up with little air bubbles in it, and you can never push them away. You keep pushing them, and they just pop back out again.
Well, I have used big pieces, but not massive pieces, I mean.
I mean, I used I don't know, like like I might have done like an entire section like this big of
well, that's
one
big.
whole piece, and it would just like, I don't know, it would just always go a bit funny. But as long as you seal it and you get enough glue in there, it should be okay. But it's sometimes it can be tricky stuff. But generally, it always looks awesome.
When you say that you add the glitter, when the speed is still wet, of course, then it can attach, or it attach easily. I have never used glitter, if I'm honest. So I would normally, once I've put the shell on, there's still enough tackiness in between the shell bits for the glitter to stick there. So but normally I'd normally actually play it safe, and I glue, then put shell, let it dry, then I glue, then glitter, let it dry, then I glue, paint. Let it dry, paint. So just so actually there's often like 3 layers of the glue. Just to make sure, just to really make sure I don't get any bleed, because it's super annoying when you have to then pull a bit of shell off, clean it. I put it back in. It's just like, no. Okay, and show me the last one again. Move it a little bit. Oh, cool. And how does it look at the back? Okay, and then that's done. Let's say that edge will be ready for you to frame and sand it, or you paint all the piece again with a background.
I do. Well, not always, but I do. I always try to double coat everything in some way, and quite often I might put a layer of clear varnish over the whole thing. But also I've backed up the whole thing in Nasdaq, in the black Nasdaq paint, just because I feel like that's the real, if you want it to be really tough. But most of these things, they're sitting in a frame, they're very well protected, nothing's gonna cause them any issue, not anytime soon anyway. But I just finished a really big one. Just sent it off yesterday. Actually, it was a shame I couldn't show you it, actually, because it was a really good one. That one, it didn't have a frame. That was just to be mounted on some little brackets, and so that one had to be fully backed up black, and I did like multiple layers of black at the back to make it super sturdy, because I'm just terrified that it's gonna get rid of it. But yeah, I really I spent about 2 hours packaging it yesterday.
Oh wow. And how thick was your glass? What type of glass do you usually get?
Usually 4mm thick, just normal glass. Occasionally I've used some like low iron glass, so it's kind of, it doesn't have the green tinge to it. But normally, you know, you wouldn't know if you looked at a glass sign and it's used making normal green glass, which most glass is kind of green, and if you look on the edge of it, it's green. But most of the time you're not going to know the difference really. But occasionally, if you certain colors, I think it can, like if you've got a big section of white, then like one time I did one that it was a white background and it also had a white frame, and it looked, the white just looked very green compared to the frame. It looked,
because it had a comparison point.
Yeah, exactly. As soon as you've got a comparison, then it all goes out the window.
Turns out, definitely.
Yeah.
And Hector, will you show us your day-to-day tools? Like, for instance, which brushes do you use for the outline and things like that?
So I might just move you across to here. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Here I am. So main gilding tools. So I've got some gold.
Of course.
So gold comes loose or on a little transfer sheet, so you can, you know, it comes like this sometimes. That's been used, but like that's on the sheet. And then or it comes loose, like just a flappy little layer of gold, which is much harder to handle. And so to pick that up, you use one of these, which is a gilder's tip. So I've just added a little handle to that, which is a trick that I saw Dave Smith do at Letterheads in London in 2018. And I just thought, oh my God, I'm basically Dave Smith because I can do this. But genuinely, it's such a great tip, because if you're using it like this, it's like your hand's in the way, so you can't. Whereas if you're like that, your hand's not in the way anymore, and you can be super more accurate anyway. Really good. Also, I've got this, which is another kind of tip way for picking up the gold. So you just pick the gold up by going like that, and then it sticks to there, and then you can kind of look through it.
That's the one I use.
Yeah, and you can see exactly where you're going to put your gold, and it's really, it means you can put like whole sheets of gold on really easily. Whereas like with these, you've obviously, I mean, you can do whole sheets of gold with that. It's just a bit more hairy. It's a bit more like, oh God.
I didn't know. Wrong. I have tried both, or like all the options, but the turn tip is my favorite one. Like the net square, the turn tip is the brand I use.
I mean, I still say I probably use this more because well, actually no, not always, but like I still use this quite a bit, because I find with this tip it's not so good for picking up less than a whole leaf. Like, I mean, you can,
but you have to add a little bit of Vaseline on your, the way I do it, I add a little bit of Vaseline on my arm, and you swap it twice. Not much. You don't have to do like rubber it, just twice. Then you put it, and if it doesn't attach, you just simply touch on top. Then it grabs it.
No, I just mean because
but maybe sometimes you have tiny pieces.
But I have gold. I cut the gold straight from the book, so I have just a little bit of stuff there as a kind of backing, and then I just go to the point where my gold is, and I peel it back to where I need it to be. Let me just do it with this bit. So I just expose the amount of gold that I need,
Uh-huh.
and then I cut it there, and I pick it up with this. So
okay, yeah.
if I want to pick it up, it's like it's a bit awkward.
Yeah.
Because I never use a Gilder's cushion. I know.
Yeah.
I don't know. You use one of those, but I've never got to grips with that.
No, you know what I do? I also cut the full book.
Oh yeah.
But then I have the pieces loose. I mean, not loose, but one on top of the other one. So what I do is I remove the cover every time. No. I place the little page, I place it next to, and then I can grab it with the net. But yeah, now I understand why you do it the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna use that, I use that for doing full sheets, and then I do that for doing everything else. But
okay, got it.
Yeah, it works. What else? What else have I got? This is just for like brushing away the excess gold usually.
Yeah.
This is actually some gold. This is actually some gold size right here that I've got mixed up. That I'm going to use later. It's a bit cloudy, but yes, I've got this brush here, which is for applying which I use to apply the actual gold size to the glass.
Which size is that one?
700 squirrel 4.
Okay.
It's really good. It's just right for me, really. I don't, I kind of want to get one of those. I know there's that like really fancy gold brush that you can get at the moment, and I might ask for it for my birthday, but it sort of looks a bit big. It always looks a bit big, but
it's flat. Are the ones that are flat?
Yeah, but this is like sort of circular, isn't it? But this is pretty good. It always works pretty well for me.
And when is your birthday, Hector?
24th of August. So quite soon.
21st.
24th.
24th. Okay, sweet. Good to know.
Quite soon. Then brushes. This is like my main brushes that I tend to use. So I've got a few sort of the ones like this that I'd use this for blending. So sometimes I'd like dip half in one color and the other. You dip one corner in one color and then the other corner in another color, and then you make a little blend that way. So sometimes do that. And then my main brushes I tend to just do a lot of outlining. So I've got these are pretty popular.
Those are virus.
The virus, yeah. I pretty much just use a 2 and a 1.
Yeah.
And I can't quite figure out how to use the 0. This one, it's just so small, and I don't know. I've not quite got my. I've only just started using the 1, to be honest. I always used to use the 2, and I could just find it because pretty much does everything. But lately, I've been doing the 1, and it's quite good. So maybe it's time to start trying the 0 as well.
Probably.
But I just find the 0, it's like it just doesn't hold that much paint. So it's just gone. Like you do a tiny bit and then it's gone. And,
and then connecting those lines again, perfectly challenging.
So yeah, that's me main brushes there. I do have a palette here, which I don't normally use, but it's good to have it. But normally I just have a cup and pre-mixed paint ready to go, and I just hold the cup and I just palette it on the edge of the cup.
Yeah. Hector, do you use a malt stick?
Yes, I do. I've got where is it? Oh, I don't know where it is. It's one of, there it is. Telescopic one.
Sweet, yeah.
I actually love this thing. I heard that they were really flimsy and rubbish and they fell to pieces, but I've had this for ages and it's great. And in fact, for a really long time, I didn't even realize how long it extended. So for ages, I was like, that's it. And then one day I discovered it has a whole nother level.
Oh God.
But so that was a real revelation. But
Yeah.
and who knows, maybe it's got another one. But no, this is good. I really like this one. And
I have heard good comments about, I use a normal malt stick and my one is red with the little cushion at the top. Oh
Yeah.
God, sometimes my clients tease me, or like people tease me, they think that I am part of a band, you know, like the one that throws the stick up.
Yeah, well, it does. Well, is it quite a big ball that you've got
Yeah,
on the end?
it is. And because it's
Yeah.
red, it's like, I'm going to a band.
I think I saw one recently where it's got like a skateboard wheel on the end of it. So,
what?
so like imagine this, but there's a skateboard wheel on the end. So when you do that,
Oh, sweet. But what
So
about
you
if
can
you
get,
don't
like-
want it to rotate, to go
so
down?
you can do that rather than doing that. You
Yeah,
can do that. So it's like, oh, it's like kind of changes everything, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Or maybe I
have
just
seen-
imagine it. No.
Thousands of types of malt stick. The other one also, I saw a guy who just created himself. Because my problem at the beginning of using a malt stick is that this hand that carry got like this. I
Oh,
mean, I
cramped.
released the malt stick and I couldn't move the fingers. They were like this.
Yeah.
So I have another one that is in 3 pieces, which is perfect for traveling, but
Yeah.
I found it very heavy. So my
Yeah.
hands get cramped and it's really uncomfortable. So every time I see somebody with a malt stick, I waited. I am like, may I see it? And this guy, he actually is a retired sign painter. He doesn't work anymore. He created his, and it's just a stick of wood that you buy from a warehouse, really light. And the top is a cork from wine.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
super light,
Yeah.
super stable. And it also doesn't leave you marks, because the point with the one that is in 3 pieces is that the rubber is black. And if
Yeah.
you're painting on a
Oh,
white
yeah.
surface, it leaves marks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's also
Yeah,
an
I
idea.
sometimes had that, like, because I used to just wrap this in a bit of masking tape sometimes. And that just, because if that gets dirty, because this is, yeah, it's like a little rubbery bit. So if it's dirty, it can mark. But yeah, I don't know. It just works for me because it fits in my little box, you know.
Yeah. The other one I
like
have seen, now I remember, you know these sticks for taking selfies?
Yeah.
Well, this is Chris from Greece. He removed the part where you put the cell phone. So he has the extendable part, and he used, I don't know how to describe it. They are like placemats. You say it like that when you are eating, where you on the table where you put your plate on, that they are kind of a net, a little net. And sometimes you also see it on bathrooms, like to go out of the shower. So they're like a little bit foamy.
Right. Yeah.
And like in squares. I don't know what's the name of the thing. And then he just wrapped that at the top. And it's really nice because it doesn't
slip.
When I saw it, I said, it's really good. I remember he was in Amsterdam and we were having a coffee and he showed it to me, and it's very stable. I thought, no, the selfie stick will bend quite fast. No, it was quite good.
Yeah, well, I thought this would bend because it's as you extend it, in theory, it gets weaker, doesn't it? And it does has got a bit of. Imagine if it broke right now. Yeah.
But I have seen people with those ones, and I don't know how they close it because they really put a lot of force on that. I have seen it bend, and I'm like, how that thing close back?
Yeah, well, I think one time I was doing a sign writing job and I forgot my malt stick, so I just found a stick. I just used a stick, some like bit of whatever I found lying around somewhere, and it's fine, really, as long as it's a stick, it's fine.
My first malt stick was Peter from Bold Statements created for me. It was a piece of wood. And it has like several times like tape at the top, pardon me. And like a glove for doing the dishes?
Yeah.
By one finger. We cut one finger and it was perfect because it had like the perfect friction, but at the same time it moved. I love it because it was light. And at the beginning I put a lot of force while I was painting. So now I see that it's a little bit bended.
That's so
Oh, well, sweet. And so are all those ones your tools? I think that so far if you do a lot of gilding.
That's the main one. Yeah, other than that, I just use obvious I go through quite a lot of these cotton wool balls for polishing up the gold, and also that's quite useful for like doing directional burnishing on I don't know, like an oil gild. You can get a kind of nice just you can get like a sort of prismatic effect. I think it's called.
Yeah, like the convex.
Yeah.
Really pretty.
That's it, really. That's all
Oh,
I've got.
sweet.
That's pretty much all I have.
That's good. And Hector, do you have any signs you are working at the moment? Are you creating anything that you are going to be selling or commission?
Yeah, well, I've got a few commissions, but they're not at the production stage. They're all just still being designed at the moment. But then I'm working on a few other things where I'm kind of experimenting, but also making some of the kind of more popular designs that I've done, kind of doing some versions of those. So I've got kitchen, bathroom, home. So, and that's that one over there, that's like just an outline that I've started for that one. This one's looking pretty cool.
Oh, it's really pretty.
So that one's a bit loud.
But I love the color palette.
And I got everything. And then this one, I think this is my favorite one that I've got going at the moment. I've just finished. Well, I've just got to back it up now, but I just did the Damar sort of textured varnish effect there, and all sorts of. It's like the most wasteful way to use gold ever. Just like using so much gold on this one.
It has a lot of effects in the gold.
Yeah,
so it has.
I don't know. It's kind of trying to do things slightly differently. So with this sign, you know, I was saying how I normally do the gold first and then I paint around it. This one, I've actually done the paint first. So I painted all the outlines first, did the blending, did the background. Then after that, I've done all that. Then I added all the gold. So, and I don't normally do that way. So I've applied the gold, it just to the gap, and then painted some backup in there, and then removed bits and added more. And so it's kind of complicated one, but yeah, I think it's come out quite nicely there.
I love the blending of the pink.
Yeah, pink always blends nicely.
Really pretty.
I've just done it all a bit different to normal. Like this time I was using a kind of stippling effect way to kind of blend it, which I don't normally use. But it's worked okay. But yeah, I'm going to do, I think, 2 more versions of this design in different color combos. And then 1 more of that other home one. And yeah, all of those will be for sale in the next couple of weeks. I might even do a giveaway again, because that's always really fun.
Oh, wow, sweet. Hector, and if somebody would like to buy one of these pieces from you or order a commission, where they can contact you?
It's probably, you can go on the Hector Brain on Instagram, or my website is hectorlloydart.co.uk. And there'll be a listing of things, but more than likely I'll put all these things up for sale on Instagram, on stories or something. And last time I did that, I didn't get a chance to put it onto the website because everything was gone pretty quickly. But that was a kind of sale thing, so there was some like real cheap deals on that one. So people were kind of excited to get in there quickly. But yeah, pretty much email or Instagram. Instagram's probably the easiest way for most people, isn't it? But yeah, that's it really.
Sweet, sweet. Hector, I just have all my gratitude for you. Thank you very much. It was lovely
Welcome.
talking with you. Man, you know a lot. You share step by step all your process. So thank you very much. And it was a pleasure.
No problem.
Great. Well,
Pleasure.
I say goodbye. See you around and take care.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
See ya. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.